Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Sunday, the 19th of July, 2020. And yesterday we published our gold and silver weekly update for the week ending the 17th of July. And we placed a link to it in the description box below. Now today we thought we would talk very briefly about pensions. Yes, those savings we are encouraged to contribute to so that we can live out our retirement in luxury. Well, that's the theory anyway. Now your narrator, i.e. me, used to be a pensions advisor for a certain period in his previous financial services life, and can say without any doubt that if you fail to start saving into some form of retirement scheme early, and then you fail to increase it as your income increases, then unless you make money some other way, you will find that what you have at the end will only just allow you to survive. Now, if you have no pension whatsoever and have not gathered other assets, then frankly your retirement is likely to be a miserable one. There is no doubt the pension advisors will direct you towards some form of equity managed type fund or funds, and in many countries governments encourage you to do this too, as there are often tax breaks given by them. Some funds you can manage yourself and others need to be managed by professionals. Some have company schemes, and providing the owners do not plunder them, these are often some of the better arrangements. Now what I have done personally, and it has served me well, I shall tell you after reading an article published in FT Advisor this week, that's Financial Times Advisor. Regular listeners will know this is a publication for investment professionals, and it is predominantly UK focused, though not entirely. That said, the principles contained within this article generally apply across the Western world. Let's take a listen. Article in Financial Advisor dated 16th of July 2020 by Emma Jackson-Obot, Deputy Features Editor of FT Advisor and a financial advisor herself. Headline: When to start retirement saving. Quote, the average income people feel they need in retirement to achieve their goals is £34,000 a year. This means a person would need to have around £900,000 in pension savings to achieve that, according to a report by Sanlam late last year. Unsurprisingly, the average person in the United Kingdom is miles from that target. In reality, the average UK adult has a target pension pot of £355,000, which would generate an estimated annual income of £13,000, that's 13,000, some £20,000 below the desired income. So what are the ways in which people can build a retirement income that is closer to their aspirations, and what are their options? Side heading: Never too early. The first thing to note, according to retirement specialists, is that it is never too early to be thinking about retirement. Many people might have disposable income that they are able to save, but that is before they get financial commitments in life, such as marriage, a house, and children. Fiona Tate, Technical Director at Intelligent Pension, says, you need to build up substantial savings in order to provide an income which may have to last over 20 to 30 years, and starting young will spread the load and avoid you having to play an expensive game of catch-up later on. Those in their 20s and 30s can start getting into that habit through auto-enrollment. However, the majority of schemes allow individuals to contribute from the age of 18 onwards, and the earlier they start and the more they pay, the greater the flexibility in age and amount. Self-employed individuals will have to make up their own minds to start saving and should try to factor in contributions to a pension each time they make a tax return. Ruth Dolan, a chartered financial planner at Tarvos Wealth, says, for the self-employed, a personal pension arrangement would meet the requirements, and many providers provide an automated advice service. If you are keen to get advice and have the pension reviewed each year to ensure it is performing as expected and that it continues to be suitable for your circumstances, taking advice from a regulated independent financial advisor will be very helpful. Ms. Tate recommends that people should start to take retirement planning more seriously in their mid to late 40s. By this time, they may have built up a number of separate pension pots, and the first step should be to identify them and contact them all and then obtain valuations and projections of the pension they're likely to get from each, she adds. This is currently easier for some pension plans than others, and it can take a number of weeks to achieve, at least until the pension dashboard is up and running. According to Aegon's latest retirement readiness surveys published in May, workers globally, including in the UK, expect that they will need on average 67% of their current income in retirement, but relatively few say they are on course to meet these needs. Aegon have this year published a report entitled The New Social Contract, Age-Friendly Employers, which is based on findings from the company's 9th annual global survey of 15 countries spanning the UK, Europe, the Americas, Asia and Australia that was conducted in 2020. In last year's report, the two most often cited retirement concerns among people globally are declining physical health, that's 50%, and running out of money, 40%. Workers expect to live to a median age of 80 and spend 5 years in declining health. A quarter of people globally are concerned about their current health, and 43% are concerned about their future health. As many as 1 in 3 people, 32%, feel stressed about their current financial situation at least once a week, while 1 in 4, or 24%, feel stressed about their long-term plans for retirement. According to Kate Smith, head of pensions at Aegon, by the time individuals hit their mid-40s, they should be reviewing how much they have saved, what income they aspire to in retirement, and when they want to retire both partially and fully. Ms. Smith says there are plenty of online tools to help people plan for retirement and work out how much they will need to save. They should be thinking about their workplace pension savings as well as any personal pensions. They may have other savings such as ISAs, which are also useful for retirement planning. People can build in flexibility on the amount they can afford to save, whether consolidation is an option, and whether they can bring forward their retirement date or have to put it back due to a lack of savings. It's increasingly common for people to phase into retirement, dialing down working hours before they stop working altogether. Once the projected pension is known, this should be followed by a shortfall analysis to identify if the current level of saving is sufficient to support income needs for the duration of retirement, Ms. Tate explains. This can be done using the free tool on the Money Advice Service website and repeated on a regular basis. However, speaking to a financial advisor for a more in-depth analysis at least once in the 10 years prior to the date when access to the pension fund is likely to be needed would be very useful. Ms. Tate adds, if a shortfall is identified, this process allows a reasonable timescale for additional contributions to build up the necessary funds. The study by Aegon last year also found that only 29% of workers are extremely or very confident that they will be able to retire in a lifestyle they consider comfortable, indicating an understanding that retirement planning is falling short of what is required. Workers expect that they will need to replace 68% of their current income in retirement, yet only 25% feel they're on track to achieve that level of retirement income. Hannah Owen, financial planner at Quilter, says that before contributing to a personal pension, a client should look at up to what level of contributions their employers will match. For example, if a client is able to invest a further £100 a month and the employer would match it, providing it's invested in a company pension, this should be considered before a personal pension. Miss Owen adds, if they're able to save above and beyond this, then a personal pension allows them to take control of how their pension is invested. If their workplace pension is final salary, then a defined contribution personal pension will give them a wider variety of income options in retirement. Intelligence pensions, Miss Tate adds, directing any additional pension savings to the existing workplace pension is likely to be a cost-efficient option, as charges are often lower and will also be offset by the employer contributions. However, some savers prefer to set up a more bespoke plan, which allows them to choose from a wider range of investment and income options at retirement. This is more likely to be suitable in the years immediately before retirement benefits start to be paid. End of article. Okay, good advice as far as it goes. Now let me say, in outline at least, what I have done over the years, which, to be fair, has served me well. From a very young age, and by that I mean while at school, I've saved, and even earned money buying and selling products while at school, and invested that money at the time into gold sovereigns. Now, they were around £30 to £40 each then, and it would take me a month or two to earn that sort of profit from what I sold. But by the time I actually began work, I already owned 20 or more gold sovereigns. I was then employed by a major high street bank, which was Lloyds Bank, and then I contributed to my company pension scheme to the maximum amount I was able to, where it was matched by my employer, and where, at the time particularly, there were considerable tax benefits in doing so. There are still tax benefits available for company schemes in the UK, although some of the schemes are not quite as advantageous today as they were then. But I also purchased a gold sovereign every month. Then, at the age of 35, I had owned around 200 sovereigns and had a healthy and growing pension pot, and owned a house which I bought with a very low, I think it was about 5% deposit, and a preferential mortgage rate, because I worked for a bank, of 95% of the property value, which by then, because I'd had it a number of years, had doubled in value. I then, while working, set up a consultancy business which continued well after I left the banking profession, and the proceeds of which, while I was working for an employer, went into unit trusts, shares, another property, and what we in the UK call premium bonds, which are government bonds offering prizes if you win, of anything ranging from then £50 to £1 million. So you weren't paid an interest rate on them, but there were prize draws each month. In my early 40s, I started to purchase silver coins as well, and other forms of silver. But I also maintained my one sovereign a month purchase. Roll on today, I have, admittedly, a very healthy company pension pot. No shares really, no direct shares now, because I exited the market completely by the beginning of this year. A personal pension plan which does invest in equities, mainly fund of funds, but are more now moving or have moved towards bonds and safer asset classes. I still own 2 properties, one of which I gain an income from and the other in which I live. And, of course, over 500 sovereigns by now, and around 1,500 ounces of silver and cash in the bank or in some form of savings deposit type account. Now, all this I've managed to achieve in spite of losing a substantial sum on a failed business venture, which was not of my doing, but I was defrauded out of. Now, I say this not to impress in any way, because I look at this as modest, but no, it is still more than the majority of people, certainly in the UK. It's considerably less than quite a few of you listening to this podcast. But look what I've done. I've spread my risk between property, equities, tax relief type savings, government bonds, and physical gold and silver. I did begin early in my life, while others were blowing their money on brand clothing, alcohol, and fast cars. Now those sovereigns are worth over £162,000. And whilst this admittedly is not a fortune in today's money, I only bought one a month. What if I had bought 2 or 3 a month, or 4 or 5, especially when the price was so low back then? The beauty is I'm still in good health, enjoy working part-time in a consultancy capacity, and carry out my Illuminati Silver responsibilities. Now, if you're young listening to this, you can do the same. If you're older, then advise your children or grandchildren to adopt this savings attitude. Now, I am aware, I'm not ignorant, of course, that we are in the midst of a recession and this may not be currently possible. But things will eventually improve. They inevitably do. So when that happens, drum this ethos into whomever you have influence over. Now, admittedly, I do not own a helicopter or a plane or a Ferrari or fleet of cars, but then I don't need them. I never have. However, I know that providing I'm not too extravagant, I can stop work tomorrow and have a very comfortable retirement. So there are, unfortunately, many people who cannot do that. For some, not of their doing, could not get employment, or suffered some form of injury that has prevented them from working. For others, because they wanted to live in the now rather than in the future. But for many people, this possibility has existed, does exist, and will continue to exist. The types of investments may vary, but at the end of the day, if you have that ethos of saving for later in life, then when you reach that stage, and I think those over their 50s and 60s and 70 years will fully accept the fact that as you get older, time does seem to go much faster. If you are of such an age and it's too late to build up such a pot over time, then just look at topping up your gold for security and your silver for excitement. Anyway, hope this helps. It's slightly a far cry for investing in gold and silver, though we have touched on it. But I cannot overemphasize. Do start early when saving for retirement. Do not think, oh, well, the world can end tomorrow. Some of my colleagues, friends, thought that 40, 50 years ago. And now, unfortunately, they're relying on the state for their income. What do you think? Do share your thoughts. Thank you so much for listening, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell sign so that you're notified of our videos as and when they are published. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer. Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.